Hello, YouTube. This is Duck Lord Demon making my first video. You'll notice the rather shitty duck drawing there. Well, not really drawing, but hodgepodge there. I'm not a particularly good visual artist, so yeah, that's about the best I can do at the moment. And this video will just be an introduction to what I generally plan on doing with this channel, the sorts of content I plan to make, maybe a little bit about me, that sort of thing. So who am I? Well, you're never going to learn that, because I'm never going to reveal my true name or show my face or anything. The only thing you're going to see is, well, the only thing you're going to see is the slides I'm putting up. But the only thing you're ever going to hear or know about me is my voice. And I'm already screwing up because I'm a little bit nervous about doing this. I'm not used to any sort of publicity, really. But I'll proceed on. You'll have to forgive my stumbling, rambling manner with which I present this. So a little bit about me. I'm a philosophy and religious studies student. I'm double majoring. I'm already technically done with the bachelor's of philosophy, although I have a whole bunch of electives I plan on taking. You know, things like philosophy of law and philosophy of the physical sciences and metaphysics and epistemology and various courses like that. I chose the double major in religious studies because I felt it would give me a broader perspective than the fairly narrow perspective presented by Western philosophy. However, I will primarily be focusing on Western philosophy in this channel. I may occasionally comment on other ideas, but mostly I'll have a Western focus, just simply because that's what I'm most familiar with. I'm a seeker of truth, as the philosophy degree suggests. I love knowledge, I love wisdom, and I love to try to figure out the mysteries of the universe if I can. I would have gone into science, but I tried my hand at calculus, and it didn't end well. I'm an evil duck, as my avatar suggests. I enjoy use duck-related memes. It's just kind of a thing I picked up along this journey of life. It's kind of a random animal I decided to choose. No particular rhyme or reason for it. It's just the way things happen to go. I consider myself a Satanist. Not in the literal sense. A lot of people don't understand exactly what that means. When I talk about it, I'm talking about Anton LaVey's version. Although I must admit I don't entirely adhere to that either. It's just kind of a label I've chosen. And I feel this way because I consider myself sort of a rebel when it comes to mainstream orthodoxy. I was raised evangelical Christian, and so I decided to completely and totally go the opposite direction. I consider myself an atheist. I don't believe in any sort of gods. Beyond that, my views are a lot more nuanced. I don't deny the supernatural, but nor do I necessarily embrace it in my worldview. At least not of the sort that is classically described. So what do I study? Well, I already said I study philosophy, but in particular, I have a love for moral and political philosophy. And over on the, probably the left of the screen, and from your perspective, you'll see a picture of John Stuart Mill, a famous moral and political philosopher. One of the most famous. Utilitarian, he believed in extreme freedom of speech, which I really value. I suppose that's a bad way of putting it. Again, I'm a little bit nervous about doing this. But I do consider him sort of an intellectual hero, even though I disagree with his utilitarianism and ethical realism. I'm an anti-realist myself. Metaphysics. I've gained a love for that over the last couple semesters. I'm in a class right now that, while not explicitly a metaphysics course, tends to cover largely metaphysics. Over on the right of the screen, that is, I think, Gottlob Frege. One of my favorites so far. Of course, I love epistemology as well, although I haven't taken an official class in it. There's a little bit of study of that in the course I'm currently taking. It's one of the core courses for my major. We'll delve into that more. That's a picture of, I think, Kant right there. Philosophy of mind. That is a branch of philosophy that I actually have quite a bit of education in so far. I've studied it extensively. I took a 400 level course on it. I'm currently in a 400 level course related to it, though not directly. I debate it and study it in my spare time. It's one of my favorites. Picture down there, by the way, is René Descartes, a famous duelist. So what will I be doing here with this channel? Well, I plan to dedicate it to philosophy. I'll probably do summaries of various philosophers and their ideas. Hard to say how long those will be or how exactly I'm going to break it up. I was thinking of breaking it up into sections, Maybe I'll cover ancient philosophy and epistemology and metaphysics and all that in separate categories. It's not decided yet, nor is the order decided of how I'll do it. I might just do it kind of randomly. Whatever strikes my fancy at any particular moment. I'll probably be covering basic logic on this channel. Now, I must confess, my level of understanding of symbolic logic is not particularly advanced. I'm pretty knowledgeable about the propositional calculus, but I do not know much about the predicate calculus. I plan on taking a course in that this summer, if my finances allow for it. But it's uncertain, again. Still, I plan to study it, and as I study it, I'll probably create a video covering some of the basics of it. Some of the basic logical operations, some basic proofs, truth tables, that sort of thing. In some sense, I want what I'm doing to be a little bit like a class. I don't want, I'm not going to have assignments for viewers to do or anything, but not that I could grade those anyway, it'd be too many of them. Or so I would hope. But I am going to kind of lecture on the subjects. And I'm doing this because I plan on teaching philosophy someday. I plan on being a professor of philosophy someday. And in order to do that, I'm going to need to have experience covering these topics before a wide audience. I'm going to need to get over my stage fright. I'm going to need to learn to, do this sort of thing. And unfortunately, at the undergraduate level, there's not a lot of opportunities for that, at least not that I know of. I think this is really the best thing I can do, and I'm going to try to do it in a special way. I'm not going to be one of these boring lecturers that just uses all sorts of technical terms and talks in a dry, monotone voice and ignores, the fact that there's probably a lot of things people don't understand. I'm going to try to explain these things as one of my professors would have put it best, in a way that any undergraduate can understand. But I'm going to go further than that. I'm going to try to make it so that any layperson can understand it. When I explain Moore's open question argument, which I will get to at some point, I'm going to try to explain it in a way that anybody can understand. Now, hopefully, hopefully I'll be able to accomplish that. If not, I look forward to criticism, because that is my mission here. I may do commentary on religion. It seems fitting that I'm a religious studies double major. I have debated religion a lot. My atheism is something that I somewhat take pride in, to be honest, and Satanism too. I love arguing about it. I argue about it right now on other places, other websites. I debate people all the time, and it's fun. It just is. I love doing it. And I hope that those of you watching this video will enjoy it yourselves. I may come off as offensive at times, I may come off as gruff, but really I'm just kind of trying to pursue truth here. I'm going to tell it like I see it when it comes to religion. I'll probably go through each of the religions. I might discuss them a bit. Probably cover some topics I'm learning in some of my courses right now. I'm in an Islamic thought course right now, of all things. I've taken 2 courses on Islam, by the way, so when that topic comes up and when I get accused of not knowing anything about Islam, I'm going to laugh at whoever makes that claim, because I've taken 2 courses in it now, and I know it pretty well. High upper division courses, by the way, 300 levels. But anyways, moving on. I plan to cover news and politics. Occasional current events that, give me something to talk about. Hard to say what stances I'll take. I have a lot of very differing opinions on political issues, and even issues that aren't really political at the moment, but I think should be. I like to discuss politics too. I have my own political philosophy. It's not fully developed, perhaps, but it's certainly developed well, and based on ideas of freedom and the protection of human life and things like that. It'll take time to explain. Don't have time in this video. I'm already at like 12 minutes and 30 seconds, so I have to wrap this up. Probably do social commentary, the same sort of thing I said earlier, commenting on current events, that kind of thing. Maybe just observations I come across, thinking on my own, just sitting around in my apartment, thinking about things. I may do response videos to other people, probably a lot of creationists, hard to say. But we'll see. We'll see what I do. I'm subscribed to certain feminists and creationists and various other people I disagree with, and I look forward to having a rational discussion with them. By the way, I'd point something else out. My comment section is going to be open. I'm not going to have any censorship on it. Nothing will be taken down. Unless, I suppose, it's doc dropping or harassment of me or somebody else in the comments section. But everything else goes. I'm not going to censor people's opinions. I'm not going to censor anything like that. I'm just going to let people argue. And of course, I'm going to present my own ideas. That's going to be a main focus, in fact. I have to wrap this up very quickly because I can only post 15-minute videos. So why philosophy? Well, because it's interesting. I love the subject. It's awesome. Because I couldn't get into science. I was originally going to be a physics major, but, I couldn't handle that. Couldn't do the calculus. I don't really care about the money issue. A lot of people say, oh, you won't make any money. Well, I don't care. Teaches critical thinking. Plans? Going to get a PhD in philosophy and teach. I'm going to have fun with this channel. I'm going to make some extra money. I don't know what I'll do for videos. Probably just philosophy. Thanks for watching. You have to wait for the next one to get any more information. Sorry I had to rush this last bit, but bye.